Hi there, me in editing. I keep calling this game FlatOut Maximum Carnage through this whole video, and I don't know why. It's Ultimate Carnage. Not exactly sure why I keep getting that mixed up, but anytime you hear Maximum Carnage, I really mean Ultimate Carnage.
This here is FlatOut Maximum Carnage. The goal is simple. Get to the finish line. However, everything's made of the world's lightest material, meaning you can smash through most things like an action movie. Ever seen the Blues Brothers? Know that part where they crash through the mall? Yeah, it kind of feels like that. This is what separates FlatOut from, other racers, really. And the fact that when you aren't racing, you're skipping your lifeless body across water like a skipping stone. Yeah, we'll get to it. But first, let's talk about potential audio issues, maybe? I am in a new house. I recently moved. That's what took this video forever to come out because it's not necessarily a long one. I just now got my computer set back up after, 2 weeks or something like that. Point is, the new game room I'm in has no furniture set up with the exception of the computer. So if you hear any echoes in the background, that might be because this room is empty and the sound's just bouncing up all over the place. But I don't know. It could sound just fine. But let's get back to the game. So let's talk about the game version I am using. The Steam version still has games for Windows Live. There are workarounds for this, but it's still pretty annoying. Well, the staff over at the Zoom platform informed me that their version does not have games for Windows Live. I was like, alright, you made me suffer through Postal 3. How about a review copy? And they were like, sure. So here we are. I'm using the Zoom platform version. For those who don't know, the Zoom platform is a DRM-free video game marketplace. There's no client. Just log into the website, buy a game, download it, and start playing. They also value games actually working out of box. So not only does FlatOut Maximum Carnage showcase that they do actually sell good games, but said good games tend to work. I made that statement, but there were a few Postal 3 defenders in the comments in the previous video, so you know what, I stand by what I said. Alright, with the housekeeping out of the way, let's talk about some intense but insanely fun racing. There is a career mode. You start in the Derby League, so the 3 cars you get to choose from are like jalopies. There are other 2 leagues, Race and Street. The main differences are mainly cosmetic and the starting stats of the available cars. Each league has its own levels, so when you finish the required events on the podium, you unlock another range of cars you can buy with the game's credit system. Earn credits by finishing events and races and getting certain awards. And you can get another car, or upgrade the one you currently have. Think of it as steady progression. As the races go on, the AI gets faster, meaning you'll either need to max upgrade your current vehicle or switch to a whole new one, like I said. It's not anything more complex than that. The upgrade system itself is pretty basic, as there's only a handful of things to buy. The cars can have different colors, but you don't get to change decals or anything like that. So the main focus, the real meat and potatoes, are the races themselves. I'm very familiar with FlatOut 2 and the PSP port head-on. And Maximum Carnage is basically just those games with a few updates. We'll get into one of the bigger changes, but the first thing I noticed as a PC player is the much better full Xbox controller support. Though my Xbox controller has straight up died, so I had to use my backup controller, which is a, well, you know what, never mind. We'll say it's historically relevant. Driving is so smooth, and the controller makes it so much easier. It's really an easy game to pick up and start driving. The challenge isn't in the car handling, as it's not based on any kind of simulation. The most in-depth the driving gets is when racing on dirt versus asphalt. That in itself is pretty simple, as it just means having to adjust how much you have to brake going into turns, or how hard you have to, push the steering wheel on one side to the other. It's really not that crazy. The challenge is found in the environment. Most everything is destructible. There's even full stores you can crash through, and like I said in the intro, there's even a mall. There is incentive to crash through the props, as it gives you some nitro, and speaking of nitro, these environments are also home to many ramps that you can take either by choice or because there's just no other route. Airtime contributes to the nitro meter. So you need nitro to win the harder races. You also need to race cleanly, as spinning out or getting all out stopped means the gap between you and the race leader grows. You gotta find a way to crash through props and maybe take some jumps in the cleanest way possible to get some nitro. If done poorly, you'll be using said nitro to just catch back up to where you were. The AI itself is another challenge, as there's 11 of them on the track. Some of these routes are narrow or full of obstacles, so not being in first place means you have to be part of a much bigger wreck. The AI will also race dirty from time to time. They will crash into you and whatnot. There's no rubber banding as far as I can tell. I mean, if there is, I didn't notice it. And that's how the races usually play out, battling out through the gauntlet of AI racers at the beginning and try to pull ahead where you can focus on racing cleanly. And once you are in first place, as long as you don't screw up, you're not losing. Of course, this is easier on tracks where it's mostly open roads with little chances for wrecking. There are some tracks with hairpin turns and tons of opportunities to lose control. The fun is found in fighting your car to stay under control while busting through the debris. It's worth noting that this game does have a pretty good soundtrack, but it's licensed, so I had to turn it off just in case I wanted to show some gameplay. But hearing the game with no music was honestly kind of interesting, as I heard noises I've never really heard as clearly before. But yeah, there is a soundtrack, and it's pretty good. Maximum Carnage adds 4 more AI that were not in FlatOut 2, so again, there's 11 in total, all with unique names and portraits. This means you can track who's ahead in a particular tournament. Look at the leaderboard, figure out who you need to make sure doesn't finish ahead of you, and ensure your first place win. They have the same style of car across all 3 leagues, so it makes it easier to identify them from afar. They have their own health bar too, and you can wreck them in the middle of the race to where they can't finish. I didn't see it quite often because you kind of have to go out of your way to do it, but it does happen. So yeah, that's races. Win them, win individual awards like fastest lap, win the cup, earn more money, buy cars and upgrades. The career mode also has secondary events such as destruction derbies and time trials. Destruction derbies are okay. Nothing really special. There are unique race events, like something called a speed bowl, which is a dangerous race where you race across the same road twice, meaning you can get absolutely wrecked or be the one doing the wrecking. This is where the Maximum Carnage update comes into play. Originally, the career mode had fun little minigames sprinkled in between the races, but here it's all under the Carnage mode. Carnage mode has all the fun minigames in this little menu. You unlock more rows of events when you achieve gold, silver, or bronze in the other available events. What are some of these events, you ask? Well, for starters, we got 2 kind of normal ones. Carnage Race is all about trying to cause as much havoc as possible during a given amount of time. You can cross checkpoints to get more time, but the goal was to cause as much havoc as possible, not get across the finish line first. Not bad. It's a nice diversion. The other normal event is trying to race as long as possible before a bomb explodes your car. That's it, really. Make it to the checkpoint or explode. The less normal events are the ones that make FlatOut stand out from its competitors. Just take a look. Yeah, so there's a variety of game modes where you launch your driver through the windshield to achieve various goals. I won't show or name them all, but my favorites is the bowling I just showed, basketball, football, and the stone skipping I mentioned in the intro. These modes serve as a nice change of pace from racing and honestly are very unique. The whole goal is achieving a high score. You can actually get thrown out of your windshield during races by hitting things head on, but it only happened to me once in my many hours of footage, and I can't exactly find where it happened. But yeah, that's the review. A nice, short, relaxing video to serve as a palate cleanser after suffering through Postal 3. I went ahead and held a vote for what I should do for 2000 sub special, and Aiden Chronicles Nintendo 64 won the vote. So I'll be working on that because it's probably going to take me a while to get through and get that video made. I would like to thank all the new subscribers and everyone that's around. I did not expect Postal 3's video to do that well, so I'm pretty hype about that. I will do a video unless I hit 2,000 subs sooner than later. I will do a little video between Aiden Chronicles and now, just to hold everybody over. It'll probably be another quick one like this one. But Aiden Chronicles will be the 2,000 subscriber special, my first Nintendo 64 game review on the channel, so that should be interesting. But until then, that's all for now. I'll see everyone in the next video of whatever that may be.